Good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Savita Tidme. I welcome you all in the next lecture of Introduction to Dairy Industry. So, in the previous lecture of Introduction to Dairy Industry, we just had a small comparison between the vegetarian food as well as the animal food of the animal origin. Then we also had a brief introduction on the dairy animals, like cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, and their breeds. Even we also studied the diseases of dairy animals, right? So this much we already studied in the previous lecture. Now in today's lecture we'll be continuing with the process of pasteurization. This is also we studied in previous lecture, that is milk and milk product, how they are preserved and how they can be prepared for long time keeping. Even objectives of the dairy industry we also studied. Which are the objectives? There are two objectives. The first, to destroy any disease producing organism if it is present inside the milk or dairy product, and the second objective is to improve their keeping qualities. These two objectives in detail we already studied in our previous lecture. Then we also studied a briefly pasteurization procedure. So definition, it can be defined as exposure of the milk to various degrees of temperature under controlled conditions to kill the organism present in it, as well as to prevent development of the organism inside the milk. So this is what the definition of the pasteurization. Now, two types of pasteurization techniques are there depending on the time, exposure time, as well as the duration of a exposure. Okay, so first technique is low temperature and a long time. Okay, and second one is high temperature and a short time. In case of a first type of pasteurization, that is LTLT, low temperature, long time, right? So 61.7 degrees Celsius temperature is maintained for about 30 minutes. So this consistent period of a 30 minutes temperature is given to the milk boiling, or you can say pasteurizing milk, that carry out, means this entire procedure is carried out in a holding compartment which provides a consistent temperature, that is 61.7 degrees Celsius, for about 30 minutes. The second type is a high temperature and a short time, where high temperature, that is 71.1 degrees Celsius, is maintained for about 15 minutes. Uh, Okay, so second type, in which the high temperature and short time, that is 71.7 degrees Celsius temperature, is maintained for about at least 15 seconds in a continuous stream. Okay, now these two techniques are different. Now in both the techniques, in both the types, a specific exposure time, okay, exposure time, or you can say specific heating time, is maintained. Why this uniform heating is required? What is the importance, what is significance of a uniform heating? Okay, so this uniform heating in both temperature and period of heating, that is uniformity in the temperature and period of heating of all portions of a lot of milk or cream, is highly desirable. It is highly recommended. Uniform heating is highly recommended. Now it is essential that all the material be heated sufficiently to destroy any pathogen present in it, whereas overheating of the portion may give a pronounced heated flavor to the product. Okay, and in case of the milk, a serious disease in the cream line, serious decrease in the cream line is observed. Okay, now whatever foam which found on the milk, okay, that foam is having a very low temperature as compared to the boiling milk. So say for example the foam which is present on the milk has say temperature 2.8 degrees Celsius, but below which whatever milk is boiling below the foam is having 80% more temperature than that of the foam. Okay, so bacteria which are present in the milk underlying boiling milk is get killed as compared to the bacteria which are present in the foam. Okay, now did you understand the importance of a uniform heating? For what it is essential? A uniform heating is required to kill the bacteria or spore present in the milk. So uniform heating is required. All right. Now, after heating, in the process of a pasteurization, there is a cooling, right? So pasteurization, what it means? Heating means the milk is passes through a hot section or hot container. It is passes to cold section or a cold container. Okay, this heat and cold, these cycles are alternate with one another, so that is responsible for killing the bacteria, that prevents the growth of a bacteria in it, and that ultimately prevent spoiling of the milk. Okay, that renders the keeping time of the milk, right? So how and why the cooling after pasteurization plays important role in retaining the keeping qualities of the milk, right? So necessity of the cooling milk and cream to a low temperature immediately after pasteurization is generally appreciated and is demanded by many regulations, right? So pasteurization destroy a large percentage of a bacteria present in it, but cannot prevent growth of those remaining or of those that gain entrance during the subsequent handling, right? So pasteurization, what it going to kill the bacteria present in it at the time of pasteurization, but it cannot prevent the growth of a bacteria which gain entry after the pasteurization while handling, right? So activity of such a organism which gain entrance into the milk after pasteurization must be prevented by low temperature. Okay, and from the standpoint of control of bacterial growth, these should be reached quickly. Okay, so what should be reached quickly after the heating period? Okay, what should be there? There must be a cooling cycle or cooling section. Okay, so while heating, while performing the pasteurization, if any kind of a bacteria which gain entry inside the system or inside the milk, so that will get killed, that will get inhibited by the cold temperature. Okay, now as we said ki some type of a bacteria which survive through the process of pasteurization. So this pasteurization normally does not destroy all the organisms present in a lot of milk, and the what it means that the bacteria which are heat stable, or you can say heat resistance, that remain inside after pasteurization procedure. Okay, this belongs to various physiological and morphologic groups. Now when pasteurization was being readily extended in the field of dairy, the prevailing idea was that the bacteria that survived and the process were largely spore forming species. So, those bacteria which survived the process of pasteurization were mostly the spore forming bacteria. One of the group of scientists, say Ares and Johnson, they observed that 225 unselected cultures of the bacteria that survive after pasteurization. How many? 225 culture that survive after pasteurization, say at the temperature 62.8 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes. So what is the type of pasteurization here in this case? The type of pasteurization is low temperature, long time. Okay, and out of which only, means out of 225 bacteria, only 3% were spore forming. Another group of scientists, they reported that amongst 81 culture isolated from the laboratory pasteurized milk, there were 13 spore forming rods. 19 streptococci, 24 micrococci, and 2 sarcini, and 23 non-spore forming rod. Let's go ahead. Just a second. Here is this the image of pasteurization, where you can see here the heating section. The milk which is collected from the cow is then heated, and immediately it is suspended for the cooling, so that whatever bacteria which gain entrance after pasteurization or after heating while handling, that may gain entrance into the milk, get killed or get freeze because of this cold temperature, and then this milk is packed for the selling purpose. Here is what we just studied now. Prevent growth of those bacteria remain after pasteurization and may enter in subsequent handling. Such a bacterial activity is prevented by low temperature. So after heating, low temperature is recommended, or the cycle of low temperature is there. So according to the Massey, he reported that amongst 81 culture isolated from the laboratory pasteurized milk, there were 13 spore forming rods, 19 streptococci, 24 micrococci, 2 sarcini, and 23 non-spore forming rods. Okay, here is the image of some kind of a bacteria on the basis of their size, shape. Okay, now streptococcus organism. Here 19 streptococci we said, which survive after the pasteurization. The streptococci organism, they are of a various kinds and are capable of surviving pasteurization. Ayer and Johnson, they studied 139 cultures of a streptococci isolated from cow feces, cow udder, and the mouth of the cow, and from the milk and cream, and found that with a 30 minutes exposure in the milk, 89 or 64% of them, they survived at a 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, so you can say that, or you can assume that this streptococci organism, streptococcus, is very stable at the pasteurization procedure. They can survive the pasteurization, and means presence of this streptococcus into the milk is quite its gain entry into the milk is very easy, because this streptococcus is found to be present in the udder of the cow, from where the milk is getting, right? Even in the mouth, in the feces, in the urine, in every means in a maximum body part, this streptococcus is present. So anyhow, it may gain entry, and it can even survive the pasteurization procedure. Even the micrococcus organism, these are the cocci forming yellow colonial, often were present on the plates poured with the dairy products. Okay, so especially those that had been subjected to heat, and that these organisms ordinarily resisted the usual pasteurization exposure for the market milk. Okay, so they were the skim milk, whole milk, cream, ice cream mix. Okay, so these bacteria, that is micrococcus, they used to resist many heat procedures. Okay, so the yellow cocci studied belongs to the several types, and so varieties of their subtypes are there, genus and species are there, which found to be present in the milk. Right, now let's see the advantages of pasteurization. Why we perform the pasteurization, what is the significance of pasteurization. So basically there are two advantages of pasteurization. The first one is reduction in the spreading of a pathogen through milk, and second one is improvement in keeping qualities of the milk. So these are two advantages. Let's see them one by one in detail. So the first one is the reduction in spread of the pathogen. How we can reduce the spreading of the pathogen. So exposures used in the pasteurization have been selected so that the pathogen present in the milk will be destroyed. Right, whatever time of exposure we select in the pasteurization is considered okay, so there are some advantages of a pasteurization. So first is the reduction in the spreading of a pathogen through the milk, and second one is improvement in the keeping qualities of the milk. Okay, let's see them one by one. The first one is a reduction in spread of the pathogen. So how one can reduce the spreading of a pathogen in the milk? So whatever time of exposure used in the pasteurization that have been selected so that the pathogens present in the milk will be destroyed. So that time, or you can say exposure time and exposure temperature, is always means it is considered to destroy the pathogen present in the milk. The process is no guaranteed, but against future infection, whatever going to add in the milk, that against that the process of a pasteurization means a previous eating is not effective, right? So milk-borne epidemics that near about 85 to 90% were due to the farm infection. Okay, farm infection means at the time of extraction of the milk from the animal, may some bacteria that may gain entry into the milk, so that act as a source of a infection, farm infection. Okay, so at present, with the much more extensive use of a pasteurization, farm infection of the milk with the pathogens is largely cancelled. When properly carried out, pasteurization establishes the safety of the milk at the time of heating, and infection subsequent to this must be guaranteed against the must be guarded against by the proper equipment and satisfactory method of handling. Okay, so when pasteurization is properly followed, then that check the pathogen growth of the pathogen up to a much lesser extent, right? So that reduces the amount of pathogen present in it and growth of the pathogen ultimately. So the actual decrease in the milk-borne diseases as a result of pasteurization cannot be determined because other factors have influenced the same diseases. Just like, for example, decrease in the typhoid fever during the last several decades has been pronounced, and pasteurization of the milk has played a part in this. Okay, so likewise, so the disease means milk-borne diseases, they have been reduced because of the pasteurization or because of some other reason that cannot be predicted. All right, now let's move ahead. Improvement in keeping qualities of the milk. How one can improve the keeping quality of the milk? So the necessity of delivering milk with the reasonably good keeping quality is again recommended by all the milk dealer, right? Yes, a product that readily undergoes other changes is certain to bring complaint from consumers and probably will cause a loss of the pathogens. Okay, so milk should have keeping qualities that will enable it to remain in a satisfactory condition with a suitable holding for at least 3 days following delivery. So whatever milk which is coming from the you can say the processing house, that should remain stable for about 3 days after delivery. So that is again established by, that is achieved by the pasteurization procedure. If during the pasteurization, if maximum amount of a bacteria they get killed, then what, the keeping qualities of the milk can be enhanced, it can be prolonged. Otherwise what will happen, if the bacteria that remain inside the milk, they will grow faster. Okay, and they will start spoiling the milk. Ultimately the consumers which are going to consume that milk will going to complain against the product. Okay, and that causes loss of patronages, right? So consumer number will again going to decrease because of this, and nobody wants that. Okay, so keeping qualities of the milk should be enhanced. So this pasteurization is extremely valuable in giving milk with a satisfactory keeping qualities. Okay, so the primary object of pasteurization should be provide a safe milk, but the other advantages of the process need not ignore. Okay, so primary object is what? Primary object is to provide a safe milk as well as uh, avoid growth of bacteria, spores in it, or the bacteria which have gained entry after pasteurization or after heating should be inhibited. So all these things are need to be considered while doing the pasteurization process. Thank you. This is all about pasteurization. Thank you.